D'Lo for boxing. All right, y'all. So I heard some back and forth debating and banter about what Errol Spence meant when he told Terence Crawford blame Bob Arum, or when he said blame Bob Arum. And people trying to figure out how they should interpret this, or what does it mean. I mean, to me, not that I really care. I mean, these guys have been going back and forth for a while now. I think it started out respectfully, but eventually at some point it got to where rivals, tend to get disrespectful with one another to an extent. And then maybe once and if they ever fight, they'll leave it all in the ring. But to me, when I read the blame Bob Arum statement, felt like it was like, hey, you either or and both. You put your faith in Bob Arum to get you the Pacquiao fight. Bob Arum couldn't deliver. Bob Arum was supposed to get you a fight with me. Bob Arum couldn't deliver. But at the end of the day, I think when you really, really look at it, I think it's more so, and like I said, not that I really care, but since, there's some, question about it, I'm going to say what I think about it. I think it was more directed at blame Bob Arum that you didn't get the Manny Pacquiao fight and I did. Because really for Spence to say blame Bob Arum, you didn't get the fight with me, doesn't really make a lot of sense, because Errol Spence has maintained that he's not ready to fight Terence Crawford right now. So, and I always harken back to that when people start talking about tell Terence Crawford to take the offer, tell Terence Crawford to take the 40% and stop being delusional or too proud or whatever. At the end of the day, Errol Spence Jr. has made it 100% clear that Terence Crawford is last on his list of champions at 147 pounds that he wants to fight. And he told Terence Crawford that to his face. And when Terence Crawford came to his fight, he basically, was like, I don't know why he's here. So, I mean, the fight's not going to happen. The Errol Spence Jr. versus Terence Crawford fight was never going to happen next. That wasn't on the table. It wasn't a topic of conversation. Everything was, is Errol Spence going to fight Ugas, or is he going to fight somebody else? Is Terence Crawford going to fight Manny Pacquiao, or is he going to fight somebody else? And who is Manny Pacquiao going to fight? That was the conversations that were being had. It was never a serious conversation about, is Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford going to fight next? I think everyone in the boxing community had moved on and realized that that wasn't going to happen. So the fight we get is Manny Pacquiao versus Errol Spence Jr. It's a good fight, good for the division, good for the sport. And the thing about it is, now that both of these guys who are premier boxers in the division, guys that people want fights with, are taken off the table, now that opens up the division for other guys to say, okay, I'm not getting that fight. Now let's work toward the fights that are attainable. So for me, I'm glad the fight's announced. I'm glad it's two of the top guys fighting each other, because Manny Pacquiao was, by all intents and purposes, the WBA super champion. He took that title off of Keith Thurman, and he didn't lose the title in the ring. He basically was stripped for inactivity, and it remains to be seen what the WBA is going to do, because from my understanding, they made him the champion in recess. Well, once this fight is signed and sealed, he is no longer in recess. So maybe he is reinstated as the WBA super champion, and then the WBA will have to do something to placate to Ugas and how he's going to feel about that, because he was given the title, but we don't know what terms he was given the title under. We don't know if he was given the title when they told him, if Manny Pacquiao comes back within a certain amount of time, we're going to give him this title back. I do know that Ugas, from the time he won the WBA regular title and people started letting him know that, hey, you're not the recognized champ, he was saying that he wanted the Manny Pacquiao fight as well. But, for Manny Pacquiao at this stage in his career, he calls the shots. He picks you, you don't pick him, and that's where we are. So, for Bud Crawford, he's on the outside looking in once again, and he just has to go back to the drawing board and see what this team can come up with, putting him in a fight that, makes sense for him and for his career and for this point in his agreement or his relationship with Top Rank. And we'll see what happens after that fight, because Everything I'm hearing is this is the last fight under the current top-ranked contract. But, you know, who knows how that's going to turn out. I mean, it could be the last fight as long as it's not a certain profile of fight. And if it's a certain profile fight and you sign, that means there's an extension for more fights. So who knows how that all works, how it's going to play out. But what I will say is that I know that the Manny Pacquiao fight and Errol Spence Jr. fight is a huge fight for the sport, and I can't wait to see it. I will be locked in front of my television, ready to click that buy button as soon as the fight is made available on my television provider. That's all I got to say on the subject. D-Lo 404, box it, like, share, comment, subscribe. I'm out. Peace.